What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and I had recently made a video on what I thought to be the most disappointing weapon in the game, and for me, that was absolutely the elephant gun. And that video was very well received for the most part, and some people in the comments had asked what I thought the most surprising weapon in the game was. And there are several options that I could have chosen for this. The first one that came to mind was the Pimpernel. The Pimpernel, if you compare it to another Maliwan sniper, just appears to be kind of an inferior version. For example, it has less damage, and it has a little bit lower accuracy as well. And so when you first look at the Pimpernel, it might not look that great, but when you fire the weapon, you'll see that it has these child pellets, and then in practice, those child pellets make it one of the most powerful weapons in the game, if not the singular most powerful weapon in the game for a great many applications. It is extremely powerful and a very fun weapon to use. But this weapon did come out very early in Borderlands 2's life cycle. It was obviously a part of the first campaign DLC, and in comparison to other Maliwan snipers, which were already very, very good, yes, it is head and shoulders above them, but you were kind of already expecting it to be good because Maliwan snipers are good. Now, the Hammer Buster is a legendary Jakobs assault rifle, and it is pretty good. Now, the Bekah is actually my choice for most surprising weapon in the game. If we compare it to the Hammer Buster, we can see that on the card it just, again, much like the Pimpernel, appears to be inferior to its standard straight shooting counterpart until we actually happen to shoot the weapon. And you may get an idea that it might be better than the Hammer Buster because in the red text it says shoot them in the face twice, and that is the important part, that twice. And so if we fire the weapon, we can see that there's actually a second set of damage that's coming, and you might see it here. I might have to scoot back a little bit so you can truly see it, but there is a second set of pellets that comes after the first pellet, and then those pellets actually deal a very significantly increased damage in comparison to what the first pellet can do. And so that is what makes this weapon truly surprising in my mind. There are some other reasons why I chose it as most surprising. One, the other two Jakobs pearlescent weapons are very underwhelming to the point that some of them are actually pitiful, like the Godfinger. Now, when the second Ultimate Vault Hunter upgrade pack came, that's the one that added Digistruct Peak and overpower levels, I did go ahead and test the Godfinger right away. I'm interested in sniper rifles, and I wanted to see if the Godfinger was any good. Now, the Godfinger was obviously very disappointing to me, and before that, the Unforgiven was disappointing in its own right. Now, it's not quite as pitiful as the Godfinger, but it is pretty damn bad, especially in comparison to its Borderlands 1 counterpart. Now, beyond that, though, I had, seen the Bekah, and I didn't even take time to test it because these two were very disappointing to me, and assault rifles on the whole are pretty weak in Borderlands 2, which is another reason why I think this is the most surprising weapon in the game. Now, the Bekah is, in my opinion, the absolute best assault rifle, 9 times out of 10. The only two weapons that I think could challenge it in the assault rifle category are the two Moxie assault rifles. That would be the Hail and the Kitten. And that's only because the healing is sometimes quite invaluable. So I guess we'll go ahead and take the Bekah out to a map. I'm feeling the Southpaw Steam and Power right now, and we'll see how it does. I am going to go ahead and put on my Slag Pimpernel just in case we need some slagging, and I'll throw on a Fire Pimpernel just in case we see any nomads with a shield that we're having some difficulty taking out with the Bekah. That is the Bekah's only real downfall, is those nomads with the shield. It becomes difficult to kind of kill them because they will be blocking their head. Luckily, we can use the second most surprising weapon in the game, in my opinion, to easily deal with them, so that's kind of cool. Anywho, we'll get started here. I guess I should give you a quick look at my skill build and stuff, and we'll be able to see pretty quickly that the Bekah is a very potent weapon. I don't know if we're going to work all the way through this map or just part of the way through, but either way, you'll be able to see very quickly here exactly how powerful this weapon is. So we'll just begin killing these guys here. It does have one-shot, one-kill potential in situations where you're coming out of Deception and you have an enemy death marked and slagged and stuff, and that's very good. Looks like my antagonist tried to kill me there, but that's okay. We're going to get our health back now, and then we'll go up and kill these nomads. So as you can see, it tore through those first few enemies down there pretty damn quickly, and this weapon will tear through most enemies very, very quickly, except for certain enemies that are going to have very, very violent critical hit movement or hidden critical hits. That can sometimes be a challenge, But for the most part, most enemies you see are going to get absolutely torn apart by the Bekah. It is a very, very powerful weapon. Now, I am using a Bone of the Ancients right now, and that's because I find the extra cooldown rate to be invaluable on 0, and I find that that is a very big help to the Bekah, even though we don't get the elemental damage increase to the weapon. But just the simple fact that you can get that increased cooldown is still a reason to use the Bone of the Ancients in my mind. If the Bone of the Ancients didn't exist, I would run almost strictly the proficiency relic on 0 like I did before the Bone of the Ancients became available. So this enemy will be an enemy that's not exactly the easiest to take out with the Bekah. He has violent head movement and a lot of health. Now, because he moves rather quickly and stuff, sometimes it's difficult to get the second set of pellets to actually hit him in the head. But even him, who is a weapon that the Bekah may not be the best with, it kills him very, very quickly. Assassin Watt is another enemy that the Bekah may not be exactly suited for because he does hide his head pretty well and does a lot of backpedal mechanics and such. So we'll try to get him stationary for a minute and then really put some rounds into him. And you can see that if those second pellets are hitting him in the head, even he is going to die very, very, very quickly. And so we'll just continue to take out these enemies here. And these enemies that run at you, they'll be usually very, very easy to take out with the Bekah. Now, one thing that is really nice about the Bekah is that it does basically have that fire as fast as you can pull the trigger fire rate, which is really nice. It does have some recoil, though, so be a little bit careful about that. That is something that makes it somewhat difficult to use on some enemies that will move their head a bunch or move around a bunch and just require multiple shots and stuff. That's the only reason why the Bekah can sometimes be quote-unquote difficult to use. So we're going to go ahead and let that guy deal with himself really quickly here, and then we'll kill that guy. So as you can see, the Bekah is just a phenomenally powerful weapon. It's not the most powerful weapon in the game, but like I said, in most situations it is absolutely the most powerful assault rifle that you will have. Now, there are probably some people who have an affinity for explosive assault rifles with certain characters, but in my opinion, even most of the explosive assault rifles are fairly underwhelming. So, but I'm sure that there are some people who do like the Ogre or the Kerblaster for different purposes, but in my opinion, those do not hold a candle to the Bekah's true potential and everything. So we'll just continue to take out these enemies here. Another thing that is really nice about the Bekah is that it is extremely ammo efficient. Obviously, assault rifles have a very large ammo pool, and it takes very few shots to actually kill most enemies and everything. In terms of, pure ammo efficiency, there's only one weapon that can truly compete with the Bekah, and that is the Infinity, and that is only because it uses 0 ammo, obviously. If you take time and range into account, I guess that the Bekah would be, more total efficient than the Infinity, but it's hard to argue with the Infinity's ammo efficiency. But even then, I mean, if you're just looking for a weapon that is not going to use ammo because you're low on ammo or something like that, unless you're using another assault rifle that uses multiple assault rifle ammo per shot, you will not run out of ammo using the Bekah. It would be almost impossible. Because obviously once you get low enough on ammo, the game begins to weight those ammo drops for you and such. So we'll probably try to kill that guy real quick and make sure there's not a dude coming from this direction. Okay, there is. So we need to let that one deal with itself. Hopefully the other one goes and deals with itself as well, and that there aren't any more coming out of this hole over here. I think we've got most of them. So now we need to deal with One, who is a very healthy enemy. Is Vitalic the word for it? Someone who has plenty of vitality. That would be One. He has a ton of health. Luckily, he has a shield, but he doesn't truly carry it in front of his head, and so that actually helps us out, which is nice because that is, the one thing that this weapon doesn't do very well at. I guess I actually need to get critical hits, though, for it to do extremely well, so try to have a little bit truer aim this particular go-round here. There we go. Now that I'm getting a few critical hits, it's dealing with them a little bit quicker. As you can see, though, One is a very healthy enemy. Now that he's all damaged, his damaged walk is going to cause us to be even less accurate, so that's kind of a shame, but we'll go ahead and finish him off here. Okay, so that's good. As you can see, though, the Bekah is extremely powerful. It just absolutely wrecks most enemies, and that is very cool, and it makes it fun to use, and, you know, it's surprising, like I said, because most assault rifles are rather underwhelming on the whole in Borderlands 2. Now, some people won't agree with that statement. There were some people who disagreed with me saying that the elephant gun is pitiful. The elephant gun is undeniably pitiful. It's truly one of the worst weapons in the game, and the Bekah is truly one of the best weapons in the game. If you disagree with that, I'm sorry. You know, that's too bad. But I find those statements to be rather undeniable. Anywho, we'll go ahead and begin to work through some more enemies here in this particular room, and maybe we'll just try to make it all the way through this particular map. I don't see why we wouldn't. So, as you can see, the Bekah is just very, very good, and like I said, it is surprising to me for a great many reasons, one of which, assault rifles are bad, which I had just mentioned, and as I had mentioned earlier in the video, Jakobs pearlescents traditionally aren't very special, so that's another reason why I'd pick this weapon to be more surprising than other weapons. So it appears that there is some shock damage over time back there, and also some slag. So we'll really kind of have to watch out how we approach those couple marauders up there, but we still got a running enemy here. Running enemies, traditionally very easy to take out with the Bekah, except when they execute their role like that. But as you can see, they'll kind of run themselves right into those second pellets, which is nice. I don't know if this is the slag guy or the shock guy. I would hope it would be the shock guy, but I think it was the slag guy. So we'll just continue to take all of these enemies out. Them coming through the door right now, they're being kind of aggressive. Makes them a little bit easier to actually take out with the Bekah, because they're kind of standing right there in that doorway, which is kind of nice. So this is going to be our shot guy, but obviously that bomber needed us to back up just a little bit to get out of his way. That worked out, though. We were able to kill the shock damage over time guy, and so now there will probably be a couple more runners that drop from the ceiling, or something that drops from the ceiling. It's usually ironclads, so that's good enough, I guess. We'll go ahead and kill this particular ironclad and also that lunatic over there. This weapon is great with bore if you have enemies lined up, so that's good. Most weapons are good with bore if you have enemies lined up, especially weapons that shoot pellets as opposed to just splash. Like, obviously most of your rocket launchers are going to be pretty poor with bore. But if you guys have any other picks for potentially surprising or most surprising weapons in the game, go ahead and let me know. I've thought of a few more while I was doing this video here that might be choices for most surprising weapons in the game. One that I had already mentioned as another potentially powerful assault rifle, the Hail, is somewhat surprising to me because when you first shoot that weapon, or if you get it with a bad accessory, you may think that that weapon is just absolutely useless. You know, if you have it with a fire rate accessory, the arc on it is just too much to use properly and stuff. But if you learn to use the Hail properly and you have it with a good accessory, the Hail can be an extremely effective weapon, and that may be surprising in some scenarios. Now, another weapon that I've thought about could be one of the more surprising weapons in the game is the Twister, because you might not be expecting a shock Jakobs shotgun, and it is extremely difficult to find as well. Another thing that I think could increase its particular surprise factor, or individual surprise factor, I guess. And so that is pretty neat. You know, it's something that, like I said, I wasn't truly expecting, you know, and it is extremely difficult to find and stuff. There is another weapon that is extremely difficult to find that is disappointing instead of surprising, and that would be the Cobra, and that was actually my pick for second most disappointing weapon in the game. Oh yikes, I don't want to die here to this guy. Luckily he let us through this door, so when he shows himself in this door, we'll begin to try to kill him. Keep catching a little bit of that fire damage over time there, but luckily the antagonist is up to the task to defend that, and we can get Killer here and knock him out, so that's good. We survived Assassin Wreath and his onslaught. This is the only thing the Bekah is not good at, is those Nomad Tyrants and stuff that are going to hold a shield right in front of their face. It makes them very, very difficult to take out. Sure, you could take them out if you could just deal raw damage to them without critical hits, but even without the ability to get critical hits, those shields are still going to block just the ability to deal damage straight up to them as well, and that makes them a little bit difficult to take out with the Bekah. So that's the one thing that the Bekah kind of has trouble with, and luckily there are a vast assortment of weapons that you can use to deal with those, including but not limited to the Pimpernel. And so that's good. Two surprising weapons there working together in synergy. Alright, so we'll just begin to take out this room. We're almost done with this map here. We're going to have a few of these flaming lunatics charging at us here, and also these suicide bombers. So I need to kind of get away for the moment here because I am near death, and I need some of these transfusion trails to come to me. Luckily, we did get some coming in there, so that was good. Now we'll just take out these two flaming lunatics. Excellent. Kind of get them over there so we can see both of them, and then just wear into them. And as you can see, it will take out these enemies very, very quickly. This weapon, I hope I've done a decent job showcasing its potential potency, and I hope I have. You know, like, I think I've done decent. So, but as you can see, the weapon is just phenomenally powerful. It's, like I said, in my opinion, the absolute most powerful assault rifle in the game in almost all situations. So that Nomad up there, he has fire damage over time, so we're going to need to deal with him a little bit specially, give him a little bit of respect and priority here, and try to deal with him. But as you can see, the Bekah made it very easy for us to do that, so good on you, Bekah. I feel dumb for not testing this weapon like immediately when Ultimate Vault Hunter Pack 2 came out, but I wanted to get to Digistruct Peak so quickly that I didn't have time to fully test the weapon. I looked at the card and I was like, that weapon probably doesn't do anything special, especially since, you know, the stats were just inferior to the Hammer Buster, and the other Jakobs Pearlescents were pitiful. And so I didn't even test it. You know, it was a thing that I didn't even think to test. And I should have, you know, because it's definitely worth using and stuff. But yeah, it was just something that I didn't even think about, and oh well. It was a fun surprise to learn how good this weapon could be, and so that was actually pretty cool. Hey, I was able to get some death mark on that guy. That was kind of neat. I didn't realize our lunatic here was still unslagged though, so I have to retreat a little bit. These tight corridors here in the Southpaw Stephen Power occasionally make for dangerous situations, but that's one of the reasons why this map can be especially fun. So we've got just a couple more guys here, and then I think we're going to get to Assassin Roof and his bodyguards. His bodyguards will probably require us to use the Fire Pimpernel because they obviously have those shields and everything. I believe they are Nomad Tyrants, and so they're going to be difficult for us to take out with the Bekah. But I think we should be able to accomplish the task of killing Roof with the Bekah, perhaps. We'll see. Roof should come to us a little bit quicker than the other two will, so that'll be kind of good. Roof has violent head movement, though, and he does have a lot of health and a damaging weapon in his own right, so in the meantime, we'll take out his friends, make Roof a little bit easier to deal with. Alright, so let's go ahead and re-up Slag on Roof here. Get a Slag transfusion out there, and then begin to kind of deal some damage to him. Now, luckily, his shotgun that he has at this particular moment isn't that powerful at range, and it appears to have a small magazine, so those are things that will only help us take out this particular enemy. We definitely want to make sure that we aren't going to back into a barrel or the Abyss, because both of those could obviously kill us. He's just an enemy that is difficult to get critical hits on. He's a huge rat, and you know, rats as a whole, their movement patterns, their head movement, difficult to get critical hits on. Not exactly a Gun Zero's best friend. His gun laser is kind of neat, though. There aren't too many enemies that have that I can think of at this particular moment. So like I said, if you've thought of another weapon that is in the surprising category, go ahead and let me know. I had mentioned the ones that I thought could be surprising as well. If you guys know of another good one, though, definitely let me know. So as you can see, the Bekah is extremely potent, and that's kind of the reason why I think it is surprising, because I didn't think that most assault rifles were that potent, and Jakobs Pearlescents in general, for the other two, are a huge letdown, and so that's definitely not the case for the Bekah. As always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. I'd appreciate that as well. Otherwise, I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.